Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Would you like to have access to exclusive behind-the-scenes footage? Would you like to have access to footage that has never been shown before? Would you like to have early access to videos? Support me on Patreon.
If there is footage that I've never shown before, it probably really sucked. Exclusive look behind the scenes. You don't have to see me waking up and drinking coffee, going to the toilet and all that stuff. I'm not too keen to show it. You're not too keen to watch it. What's the last thing? Oh yeah, staying ahead of videos. There's this tiny bell next to the subscribe button. You just click that and you basically have all the early access you want. No Patreon on this channel. Not now, not in the future. Everything is actually free. If you don't like making videos, stop making videos. Thanks for watching. Today we're having another look at the Proline Pro-MT4x4. A lot of people don't seem to quite understand what this truck is about. If you're not familiar with one, if you don't already have one, let me quickly walk you through it. This is a 10 scale monster truck, so it's really small footprint, really compact platform, but it features all 8 scale running gear. So what they managed to do is they managed to lay it out in a way where you can fit everything 8 scale, so 8 scale motor, 8 scale ESC, all that type of stuff inside a monster truck that's no bigger than like a traditional 10 scale monster truck. Also, all the gears, they're all mod 1, so they're all the type of pitch and the type of rigidity that you would expect from, for example, 8 scale race buggy. The shocks are big bore. The drive shafts are pretty over-dimensioned, and overall it just has a ton of bashing potential. Now, of course I need to paint the shell because that's something that still needs to be done. Before I'm going to do that, however, I'm going to walk you through what I did to actually finish it up. This is a truck that comes as a roller, so it comes completely put together already, apart from, of course, then all of the electronics. So you find a bag with the hardware. I got the remains of it over here, so you can put in your own servo, motor of your choice. All of that stuff basically. Now I've seen a few people who have done unboxings of these kind of nag about the suspension of how it comes out of the box, saying that it's like under-dampened or whatnot in the back. But of course you can't see anything before you actually put all the shit in there, because it adds, I don't even know, I think that I added about 4 pounds to the truck, including the battery, so that should give you a bit of an idea. I'll just drop it real quick so you can see that that's actually I think that's really dialed in. I haven't done shit to the suspension. I will walk you through what I did. First and most challenging part was this steering servo. I opted to go for a ProTech RC 170 SBL. This is a brushless waterproof servo. Has some really high speed. Specs of it are amazing. I don't have the box here, so I can't tell you anything about it. I will make sure that there is a link to the servo in the video description box, so you can check it out. This is A-Main's own brand. I also run a ProTech servo in my HPI venture, and I've been really happy with it, so I wanted to give one a try in this truck as well. Now, mounting it is a tiny bit of a bitch because you need to take the entire cradle out. I also took the center diff out simply because there's a bit of it's a fairly thick lead coming from the servo. So if you don't want to sort of like force it to the point where you're not sure if you're going to ruin the wire or whatnot, I advise just take this center cap off, remove the center diff, put the lead through there to the other side where you can actually mount it up to your receiver and mount everything back. I did put a tiny bit of shoe glue in the very bottom of that cradle that actually carries that center diff, just to make sure that my servo wire isn't gonna like flop around, end up in my gears and be a total day ender. So that's what I did over there. I mounted, this is a 2-channel receiver, a high-tech receiver. This is actually for a 4-channel radio, but I mean, I'm not going to run a winch or like any other nonsense on this truck. I'm also not going to use any of the additional features that the Mamba Monster X, which I also put in there, has, but we'll get into that a tiny bit later. I'm running this, I'm still bad at muting my shit, I'm running this with a high-tech Lynx 4S. This is a radio, I've seen it at the track a lot of times. I have not seen people on YouTube use it all that much. I picked one of these up. I think that it's a really cool radio. If I turn it on, you can see that it has a really big display. There's a push switch over here and then a dial switch over there. Sort of like a jog dial type of thing to run you through the menu. Comes with a rechargeable nickel metal hydride pack, so you don't have to worry about having to swap out batteries every couple of weeks either. Simply plug it into your charger and you're good to go. There's even a charging jack over here. There's an SD card slot in the bottom. And then there's also a headphone jack in the back over here, so you can basically use it as a Walkman if you choose to do so. I think it's pretty cool, offers a lot of features for the money, and well, I'll be using it on the Proline Pro-MT4x4. The motor that I went with, if you take the truck out of the box, so the way it comes with kind of like an inlay, an insert. Once you take that insert away, that's to run a 10 scale motor. Once you take that insert away, you can actually mount one of these, which is an 8 scale motor. I went with a 1515 Castle Creations censored motor. So this is the 2200 kV. They also have an 1800, which is slightly shorter, and their 2650 is also slightly shorter. Now those two are recommended to be run on a 4S. This one you can run up to a 6S. I could have gone with a Mamba X, but in this case I went with a Mamba Monster X just because I had it laying around. So this comes with, I put all the latest firmware on there. It comes actually with an aux wire. And when you mount that up to, when you plug it into a 3 or 4 channel receiver, what it allows you to do, in for example a rock racer or a crawler, you can switch between modes. So you can set it up to be like full on rock crawling with like 100% drag brake. And using that additional channel, you can either, well, do it with like a push button, or you can do it with a dial switch. You can tune it back completely, the drag brake, to the point where you just have a car that coasts. So you can set it up to be like a 2-in-1 type of car. So in case you have, for example, an axial bomber, you really like rock crawling with it, but you also like to gun it without having to worry that once you let go of the throttle, it's gonna like flip over on itself and completely sort of like self-destruct and fuck up the shell that you have on there. That's a great feature. I'm not sure, I don't think that a lot of people actually understand the function of that aux wire, but that is actually what it's for. There's a ton of things that you can set it up to do once you hook it up to a Castle Link and have a look in all of the menus. Over here you see a Venom battery. This is a 4-cell battery, 5000 milliamps, packs plenty of power. I put a Castle battery connector on there, and then a Castle ESC connector as well. I really like these connectors. I run them in my X-Max as well, for example, so that's also why I opted to go for the exact same connector in this case, just because it's easy for me to transfer a battery from one vehicle into a next. This is a hard case battery. I haven't been too fortunate in the past with Venom, but that's years and years ago, and they seem to have really stepped up their game, especially in terms of customer service, so it's cool to see that, so I'm willing to give that another try. Now, as for the body, this comes completely pre-cut. Let me just throw this to the side for a tiny bit. It comes completely pre-cut, but there are a couple of burrs inside the wheel arches. Now, this is not something that you have to worry about or whatnot, but if you can, pick up one of these Protoform sanding blocks and just give everything a tiny bit of a once-over just to get rid of those burrs and completely seal up the Lexan. Because especially in a basher shell, if you have a tiny burr going on in your Lexan, that could eventually lead to a tear. Once you land this thing on its roof when it's going 40 miles an hour, it will rip. So sanding this up just a tiny bit just before you go wash it and scuff it and whatnot. That helps greatly in getting some more life out of your body. So I'll be sanding this up first. Afterwards I will scuff it on the inside while I wash it out, just to get rid of any of the release agent that is always inside every Lexan body that you will find. And then from there on out we will start to sort of like decide on a paint scheme. If you have any ideas about a paint scheme or anything that you would really like to see, please let me know in the comments section, because I always read the comments and I also always reply. If you want to be ahead of what I'm doing over here, Facebook and Instagram are also in the video description, along with links to everything that you've seen in this video. So that's the Proline Pro-MT. Now if you're on the Proline Racing website, the code HemiStorm10 will give you an instant 10% discount on all of their stuff. So whether that's like wheels, tires, bodies, complete trucks, you name it, you get an instant 10% discount. So that's really cool. I'll make sure that you can just copy paste that from the video description. I'll also put a link in there to the ProTech RC Servo. I'll put a link in there to the combo that I'm using from Castle Creation, so the Mabo Monster X and the 1515 2200 kV motor. And I will also put a link to the Venom battery. Well, that was a lot of yip yap. I'm really looking forward to get started painting. Oh yeah, and of course the high-tech radio. I'll make sure that that's there as well, so you can check it out and read up a bit on it. Yeah, so can't wait to get this thing done and actually take it out, see what it can do, because seeing that there's such an amount of power in a truck of this footprint is of course really insane, and will make for some really nimble in-air action as well, I can imagine. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's free, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, bye bye.
Back on.